and the prince fell in love with the palm wine tapper's daughter. It was a warm morning in the village of Omala. The sun rose slowly, touching the thatched roof with the golden light. Birds sang in the big tree. The fresh smell of palm wine floated in the air because many men had already climbed the tall palm trees to lap the wine. One of those men was Okeke, the oldest palm wine tapper in the village. He was tall and thin. His hands were rough from many years of climbing trees. Everyone respected him because he never cheated his customers. He is always said, palm wine is sweetest when it is shared with a clean heart. Okeke had only one child, a daughter named Nnenna. She was 16 years old. Her mother had died when she was a baby. Nnenna grew up helping her father. Every morning, she carried large calabashes of fresh palm wine to the roadside where people came to buy. Nnenna was not only hardworking, she was also beautiful. Her skin was smooth like ripe mango. Her eyes were bright and she always had a smile that had made people feel happy. One Saturday, the village prepared for the visit of Prince Obinna, the only son of King Ugochukwu of Umo Oma Kingdom. The prince was coming to inspect the farmland that supplied palm oil to the palace. Prince Obinna was 23 years old. He was tall, with broad shoulders, and he always wore fine clothes. Though it was a prince, he was humble and loved to see how his people lived. He wanted to be a good king one day. That morning, he rose into the village on a white horse. The villagers came out to welcome him. The children sang songs. The elders bowed their heads in respect. After the inspection, the prince felt thirsty. His guard said, "Your Highness, let us bring water from the stream." But the prince shook his head and said, "No, I smell fresh palm wine. I want to test it." He followed the sweet smell and soon reached the roadside where Nnenna was sitting behind her father's table. She was serving palm wine to customers. Her hands moved quietly and gently as she poured the foaming drinks into calabashes. When Nnenna looked up and saw the prince, she quickly stood and greeted him. "Your Highness, you are welcome." Her voice was soft but clear. Prince Obinna looked into her eyes and felt something he had never felt before. Her heart began to beat fast. He tried to speak, but his mouth felt dry. Okeke bowed low and said, "Your Highness, it is an honor to serve you." Prince Obinna smiled and said, "Thank you, Okeke. I would like to test your palm wine." Nnenna poured wine into a clean calabash and held it out with both hands. The prince took it carefully. When he sipped the drink, he closed his eyes. It was the sweetest palm wine he had ever tasted. "Your wine is very good," he said, "but what makes it special is the way it is served." Nnenna looked down shyly. Her cheeks turned red. For the next few minutes, the prince sat on a wooden bench under a mango tree and watched her serve other customers. He noticed how gently she spoke to everyone. Even when some men tried to argue about the price, she remained patient and polite. After he finished his drink, he stood up. "Okeke, I thank you," he said. Then he turned to Nnenna, "And I thank you too." As he mounted his horse, he looked back one more time. Their eyes met, and Nnenna felt a strange warmth in her chest. That night, Obinna could not sleep. He lay on his soft bed in the palace, thinking of Nnenna's smile. He remembered the way she wiped the calabash before handing it to him. He remembered her gentle voice. "She is so different," he whispered to himself, "so simple and pure." In her small hut, Nnenna also lay awake. She wondered why the prince had looked at her as if she was special. She knew many beautiful girls in the kingdom who wore fine clothes and painted their faces. She had nothing, no fine clothes, no ornaments, only her heart and her father's love. The next morning, Prince Obinna told his father, King Ugochukwu, "Father, I want to visit Umala again." The king looked surprised. "So soon? You were there yesterday. I want to see more of the farmland." the prince said quickly. The king nodded. Very well. It is good for a prince to understand the land. 3 days later, the prince returned to the village. This time, he came alone, wearing simple clothes like an ordinary young man. He did not want cards or attention. He tied his horse to a tree and walked quietly to the palm wine table. Nnenna was surprised to see him again. She quickly greeted him. You are welcome. Thank you, he said. May I sit here? She nodded. He sat on the bench and watched her walk. Why do you help your father? He asked softly. He is old, she said, and he has no one else. My mother died when I was a baby. This is very kind of you, he said. She looked up and their eyes met again. This time, the prince did not look away. From that day, he began to visit often. Sometimes he came to taste the palm wine. Other times, he only sat and talked with her. Slowly, they began to know each other. She told him about her dreams. She wished to learn how to read and write. She listened with interest. He told her about the palace. He described the big halls and gardens, the library and the tall walls, but he said none of those things made him happy as much as sitting under the mango tree with her. Soon, people in the village began to talk. Have you seen how the prince comes here almost every week? They whispered. Yes, he only talks to Nnenna, others said. Some people said it was not right for a prince to spend time with a daughter of a palm wine tapper, but others said, leave them alone. Love does not care about status. One evening, as the sun set, the prince finally spoke his heart. Nnenna, he said, I have tried to forget you, but my heart refuses. I love you. I love you more than I have ever loved anyone. Nnenna's eyes became wet with tears. But I am only a palm wine tapper's daughter, he whispered. You are more, he said firmly. You are kind, you are strong, you are honest. That is what I love. She looked at him, and for the first time, she allowed herself to believe that maybe she deserved love too. When King Ugochukwu heard about his son's visit, he was angry. What foolishness is this? He shouted. A prince should marry a princess. Father, Obinna said calmly, I do not care about titles. I want a wife who would stand beside me with truth in her heart. The king's face was red with rage. You will not see her again, he commanded. But the prince was determined. I will not stop loving her. That night, the king called his council. Some elders agreed with the king. Others said, if the prince truly loved her, let them marry. The debate went on for days. At last the king said, if she is truly worthy, let her prove it. She must stay in the palace for 3 months. She will learn our custom. If she failed, she will go back to her father. When the prince told Nnenna, Nnenna was afraid, but he held her hands and said, I will be beside you. So Nnenna left her small hut and came to the palace at first. Everything felt strange. The servants looked at her with cold eyes. Some laughed behind her back. She wore simple clothes, while the others wore fine wrappers. But she did not complain. She worked hard to learn how to curtsy and serve in the royal dining hall. She learned to read and write, and soon we could write her name. Whenever the prince saw her, he encouraged her. You are doing well, he said. As days passed, even the king began to notice her gentleness. She never raised her voice. She never showed pride or anger, even when people tried to shame her. One day, the king watched from his balcony as Nnenna helped an old servant carry a heavy basket. He did not know he was watching. That night, the king called the prince. His voice was softer. Perhaps I was wrong, he said. Perhaps true royalty comes from the heart. At the end of 3 months, the king announced that Nnenna has passed every test. The prince was overjoyed. He ran to her and held her hands. Now, you will be my wife. The wedding was the biggest celebration in the kingdom. People came from many villages. They ate, danced, and sang songs about love that does not care about your wealth and title. Okeke wept tears of joy as he watched his daughter in her fine wedding wrapper. He thought of all the years he had climbed the tall trees, never imagining that this day will come. When the prince and Nnenna stood before the king and queen, the king said, "Today, you are not just my son's bride, you are my daughter." The crowd cheered. After the wedding, Nnenna became Princess Nnenna, but she never forgot where she came from. Every week, he visited her father and sat under the mango tree. Sometimes, he even helped serve palm wine to travelers. People would whisper, "That is a princess who married the prince because of love." Whenever young girls asked her how she had won the prince's heart, she would smile and said, "By being myself." And so the prince and the palm wine tapper's daughter ruled the kingdom together. They were loved, not because of their crowns, but because of the goodness of their heart. Thank you for listening to those points. Please subscribe to my YouTube channels. Thank you.